Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make the forge. This is part two. Thank you guys for all the love and support you guys showed up to part one of the series and stuff. Sorry for the late video. I had this stuff ready for a few days, but I just forgot to record it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get straight into this. So for part two, very simple. I added the forge system. This video would be pretty long because it was a lot to add the forge system. So I decided to just go with something pretty basic. I'll make improvements and changes to it and whatnot. As long as the series continues to continue, and as you guys already know, continue to show the series love and support, and we will continue from there. All right. So first things first, since we're gonna be, trying to forge something, we're gonna need more than just, one material or like one ore, I should say. So let's click the rock, right? As you guys can see, for some odd reason they changed before they had it optional to where it was a beta feature to where you could have this new Studio UI. Apparently this is the new, I guess, permanent change. So like you don't even have the option to go back to old Studio UI. I don't know why they did this, but anyway. Um, so we're gonna click this. Like, bro, where's the duplicate? Like, why would they do this? Where even is the duplicate button? Bro, do I have to like click? Is it here? Anyway, okay, so you could just press Control plus D or just do that. I mean, yeah, I was just trying to do that, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, so we got one rock, right? So you're just gonna drag one over. Let's move it over, right? I'm gonna rename this to be iron. We're just gonna make another ore. You guys, it can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be called iron. I'm just gonna go with that. I guess I'll just leave the same rock material, I guess. I'll set this its health to be like, I guess like 20, because I'm pretty sure like iron would be, much more difficult than just a regular rock. So then that's it with that. Then we can head to server storage. So open up server storage. You guys remember our items folder, right? So we have a folder for access. So let's insert another folder, and this is going to be our folder for ores. So just name it ores. Then you're going to insert another folder, and then you want this for each of your individual ores. So right now I have iron and rock, so I'm going to make sure their names match exactly as is. So I'm going to put iron. Then I'm going to insert two number values into it, right? So for the first number value, boom, this is going to be min damage, right? So min damage. This is a number value, right? So pretty much the way this works is, for each ore that you have, what it's going to do is it's going to generate a number in between, um, the min damage and the max damage, and then that's how much, and then it'll total up the total amount of damage to, I'm, I feel like I'm not really making much sense. It'll make more sense when I get to the actual coding part, but pretty much it's gonna give you a sword, and the sword will do a set amount of damage, and like the more, I guess, rarer the materials you use, the more damage it'll do. Pretty much that's the system I came up with. But yeah, so min damage, you can set this to whatever you want it to be. I'm gonna set it to 2, right? Then I'm just gonna duplicate this again while having it selected, Control plus D on the keyboard, or you can just right click and then just press duplicate. Then this will be max damage, so minimum damage, maximum damage. So we'll set this to be, so it'll choose a number between 2 to 5 for iron. Then click this again, duplicate it, so boom. Then call this rock. That is not rock. Then I guess I'll set min damage to be like, I don't know, 1.5, then max damage to be like 4, I guess. So something like that. And then yeah, so that's just it. Pretty much the ores folder is just simply for just damage and stuff like that. And stuff like how good each ore is, I guess. So so now we need to do the UI. This is gonna take a hot minute, I'm not gonna lie. So Core GUI, open it up, plus icon, insert a frame. We want this to be pretty wide. So you could do like 500, drag this to like the middle, do 500, then drop this down by that might be too much. Maybe like by, yeah, like, or like by 400. Or okay, let's not do that. We'll stick with 200 because it's fine. So rename this frame to be forge frame. We're gonna set this to be visible whenever they, walk up to the NPC. Um, right. So, oh, that reminds me actually. I just realized something. Ignore that. Wait, I just realized this. Oh, that NPC didn't exist in part one, did it? Oh, that's fine. Well, anyway, just ignore that, guys. You'll never saw that. Anyway, so we have the forge frame, right? So once you create that, we're then, I guess, the next thing we'll do the forge. I won't say the forge item frames because that's pretty simple. So set your forge frame background transparency to 1. You then want to insert another frame into this frame, right? We want this to be kind of like right here, I guess. So like right here, rename this to be forge items frame. So this is pretty much is going to be the little forward, like it's going to look just like the hotbar and stuff. This is going to be where like the ores that you selected are going to be, right? So forge items, yeah, this is going to be like the stuff that you selected, I guess is like the best way to phrase it. So for this, we don't need this to be too tall. We can say like 60, and then I think this was set to maybe 400. No, wait, no, 400 is crazy. Might have been 200 instead, possibly 200. Yeah, possibly 200. So we have our forge item frames, right? Then we're going to insert a UI grid layout so it automatically sizes them. So UI grid layout. You can set this to whatever you want it to be. I personally went with, I left it at 5 by 5, then I did 50 by 50 here. So boom. Then what you want to do is you want to insert your text button into the forge item frame, right? And then you can go ahead and set the forge item frame background transparency to 1. Boom. And then you want to rename this text button to Forge. The name is very important to make sure everything matches. Forge slot 1 text button, right? This is going to be slot 1. So bold text, rich text, scale the text, right? And then by default the text should say empty. And then actually, wait, no, we don't. Yeah, sorry, we don't want rich text. We do not want rich text. But yeah, so then from there, I'm going to set the text color to be white. Text stroke color will be black. Text stroke transparency will be set to 0. Then I will set the background transparency of this to be like a, like a dark faded gray. Then background transparency. Why does Studio look so depressed now? Like it's not just dark mode. It's just it's so dark. Anyway, we're gonna do 0.5, right? So that then I think I'm gonna do a board. Yeah, I'm gonna do like a little border. Set this to white. Now you guys don't have to do like all the border and stuff like that, but okay. So once we have that, the great news, all we gotta do is just duplicate this again. Select it, click it, press Control plus D, or just right click and press duplicate. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Oh, see, clearly we need this to be a little bit wider. So let's do like 220. There we go. Okay. So yeah, you can adjust it as need be, and then all you gotta do, go and just change each one. Forward slot 2 text button. Forward slot 3. That is not 3. Okay. Forge slot 3 text button, and then forge slot 4 text button. Boom, right? And then just like that, we're done with the forge item frames. Now, you want to close that, right? Now, inside of the forge frame, right? You want to insert a text button, and then you want to put this right, you kind of want to put it like right under this, right? And then you want it to be kind of wide. So I think I might opt to do like 250. And then yeah, you just wanted to kind of align it like that, right? So this is going to be our forge text button. So you click this button and then this is when you're ready to like forge something. So same thing, background color, dark gray, background transparency 0.5, um bold text, not this time rich text, scale text, then all caps. I'm just gonna put forge just like in the game. We're gonna go with white text color and then text stroke color black, text stroke transparency set to 0. Boom. And then just like that, we have ourselves our forge button. Okay. Then it should be right under. Yeah, it'll be right underneath that. Okay. So from there, we are then going to move on to the OR selection frame. Okay, so now we need to have a frame that has two things. Well, technically three things. First, it's going to show you all of the ORs you have available so you can see what you can select, and then you can select them, of course. And then you also need to decide between whether or not you're trying to forge a piece of armor or a weapon. I only did weapon so far, but yeah, you need to select either armor or weapon, and plus you also have the option to just close the forge UI. So we're going to go ahead and insert another frame into the forge frame. Now this, you want this to be all the way off to the right. So just like a little bit over here. You want this to be pretty tall, so like maybe like 300. Yeah. So and then I think I might do 250. Yeah, I think 250 by 300 should be good. Now this is going to be ore selection frame because you're going to select the ores that you have, right? So for this, you guys already know the drill. Dark black, background transparency 0.5. So yeah, something like that. I'm gonna give it a nice border. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'll go with white. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So from there, we're then going to insert a text label into the ore selection frame. So insert a text label. This is just going to be like the top left. So this is going to be our header. So forge. So you could just go, or not forge, sorry. Ore selection text label. And then you could just, bold text, rich text, scale the text, and then set the text to be forge. Select ores just like in the game. Select ores, right? White text color, black text stroke color, and then text stroke transparency should be set to 0. And then I will set the background transparency to be like a kind of darker gray. So something, or yeah, something like that. And then boom. So something like that. And then now we need our close text button. So then I'm going to insert a text button to the OR selection frame. So text button. I'm going to drag this off into the corner. And then I just need this to be like mad small. Okay, that might not have been exactly what I was thinking. So I think 50 by 50, can this fit in the corner? Yep, there we go, perfect. So yeah, something like that. So boom, it may be different for you guys, just, squeeze it in the corner, however way you want this to be. Okay, and then from here, rename this to be close text button. This is how they're gonna close. So then we'll set the background transparency to be a nice bright red. Scroll down, bold text, rich text, scale the text, make it an X. Text color will be white. Text stroke color will be black. Text stroke transparency will be set to 0. And then, or actually no, let's do like a faded red actually, because this is kind of bright. Let's look a, something like that. Okay, there we go. Now we have our close text button. Wonderful. Okay. So after that, we then need, let's finish here and then we'll go into the ore inventory frame. So we need the armor text button and the weapon text button. So I'm just going to duplicate the close text button. I'm just going to duplicate this again, Control plus D. What you want to do, you want to drag this down to the bottom. Just drag this. I'm gonna just have this in the corners. I'm gonna set its size to be like possibly like 150. Like possibly 150. Or wait, no. I'm gonna do 125, and then but I'm also gonna make it a little bit shorter, like 35, yeah, something like that. So something like that. So this you want to rename this to be armor text button, right? And then we're gonna need to change something. So of course the text is gonna say armor, and then you want to change the background color so it's just a nice dark gray, something like that, and then something like that. Boom. So yes, so yeah, something like that. Okay. Cool. And then, yeah, that's still too wide. I'm gonna have to change this like 115, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this, drag this over here, and then this is going to be weapon text button. So weapon text button. This is pretty much when you're trying to, when you're selecting whether or not you want to forge a weapon or armor. And then by default, we'll have weapon selected. And the way we'll do that is we will set the background color to be white. That's how we'll know, like, because that's how you know what's selected, right? So boom, once you're done with that, now onto the last thing, you're gonna insert a frame into the ore selection frame. This is going to be the frame where like it actually stores your ores, like where the player can see all their ores. So for this, rename this to be ore inventory frame. This is where they're gonna select stuff. So we're gonna have ore inventory frame. You want to just kind of squeeze this in the middle, so maybe like I feel like 250 might be kind of crazy. Yeah, so we'll do like 235. Yeah, so do like 235 by, again, it may not be exact for you guys, just make it work. It doesn't have to, the sizing doesn't have to be exactly as mine. Let me see, let me do 180. Okay, so something like that. You could also, by the way, you could also do like a scrolling frame. That actually, now that I think about it, that actually would make a lot more sense than I think about it. Yeah, actually, sorry, let's delete this. That actually makes more sense to just do a scrolling frame now that I think about it. And I just did the same thing. I'm so stupid. Okay, so insert a scrolling frame. That way we don't have to have like a gigantic sized frame. So we can just do 235 by 150, 180. Okay, cool. So we'll just have something like this, right? Now, this will be your OR inventory frame. I'm just gonna make this darker black so it kind of appears like black so it stands out. And then background transparency 0.5 again, right? So something like that. Cool, right? Then all you gotta do inside of the OR inventory frame, you're just gonna enter the UI grid layout so it automatically sizes everything for you, sizes and positions everything for you. So 5 by 5, and then down here again 50 by 50, and then boom. Okay, just like that, we are done with the UI. Just making sure we are good. Okay, we're good. All right, and then just like that, we are finally done with the UI. Okay, so you can close everything. Click Forge Frame, make sure it's not visible by default, and then as you guys probably guessed, we need our NPC. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna click Avatar at the top here. This avatar. No, that's avatar settings. How do you? Am I model? How? I'm so confused. Oh, right here. Oh wait, I think. Is that no? That bro. What am I supposed to do? The fact that this thing is confusing me this much. What am I? How do I insert? I just want to insert an avatar. No, choose for second improvement animation. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So click avatar at the top. To click character right here, and then I'm just gonna click block avatar. Cool. Okay. So we're just gonna have this here, right? Did that say anything important? I'm curious. Did it say anything important? Offer license. Okay. Anyway, so from here, we're just going to rotate this, right? And this is going to be our NPC. So this is just going to be our Forge NPC. So you could just name him Forge NPC. All you gotta do, open them up, go to the humanoid root part, plus icon, insert a proximity prompt, name it, rename it to be Forge prompt, right? Disable, very important. Disable requires line of sight. You can set the max activation distance, the hold duration and stuff, all that greatness stuff completely up to you guys. Forge. I'm gonna set the active text to be that. Completely up to you guys. Okay, now we can move on to the coding. All right, let's do it. Okay, so let's open up the core local script. First things first, let's create a variable for our core GUI since we now need to use it. So we'll go to the top after local player, core GUI is equal to player.player GUI, wait for child, core GUI, right? Then after this function, we're going to create a variable for our Forge NPC that we just made. So Forge NPC is equal to workspace, wait for child, Forge NPC. Then we're simply going to say Forge NP. We're going to say Forge NPC dot humanoid root part dot Forge prompt dot triggered connect function in parentheses put PLR, which is for the player who triggered the prompt. Enter, right? Then from there, you're simply going to say core GUI dot hotbar frame dot visible set to false because we don't want that to be visible while they're forging something. So we're gonna destroy all of the UI stuff inside of the where is it? The or inventory frame because obviously, you're since you're opening it up, you may have already opened up the Forge menu before and you may have like it may have the old data. We need like most update data and stuff like that for like the ORs you have. So we're gonna say for I v in pairs or in I pairs, you're gonna say player dot or inventory get children, close parentheses, press enter. Then you're gonna say if v is a text button, enter, right? Then v destroy, boom. Then after you're gonna skip the two ends, so after the for loop, then we're gonna use another for loop. So for I comma v and I pairs player dot or inventory get children. Now we're gonna create the text buttons, enter, right? So we'll just create a variable for orders to, just makes it easier to, read it so that we know what v is. So that's our or inside of the player's inventory. So we'll say if not core GUI dot forge frame dot pretty much if it's not already, if we haven't already created a button for it, then we're going to create a button. So frame dot or inventory frame find first child or dot name dot quotation marks text button, right? So if we don't find one, then we need to make one. So let's create a variable for our or text button, which of course will be a text button. Set some properties, or text button. Dot name will be or dot name. Dot quotation marks text button. Enter or text button. Dot text will be or dot name dot quotation marks space left parenthesis, go on the outside dot or dot value dot quotation mark right parenthesis. If you're confused, pretty much this: the name of the ore, and then the value of the ore is how much you have. It's how much of that ore you have. So it'll say like, okay, you have iron, and then you have 2 or 3 pieces of it. Pretty much for anyone who's confused. Then we'll say ore text button dot background color 3 is equal to color 3 dot, or sorry, yeah, no, that's, wait, yeah, that's right. Color 3, and then we'll do 0.19 comma 0.19 comma 0.19. So just like a dark gray. Then or text button dot text scaled is equal to true. Or text button dot font face dot bold is equal to true. Or text button dot text color 3 is equal to color 3 dot new 1 comma 1 comma 1, which is white. Then or text button dot text stroke transparency is equal to 0, and then finally or text button dot parent is equal to core GUI dot forge frame dot or selection frame dot or inventory frame. And then now we'll set the function up for when players click on set button or text button, which means they're trying to add it to the forge. So or text button dot activated connect function and close parentheses, press enter. Then we'll create a variable called success. Set this to false. By default it'll be a boolean. Pretty much is how we'll know if like we successfully added it already. So we will use a second for loop. We'll say for j comma f, and ivars core gy dot forge frame dot forge item frames get children enter, right? We'll say if success is equal to true, then break, right? Then we want to essentially end the loop. We want to essentially get out of the loop and stuff, right? So then we're going to say if f is a text button and f.text is equal to empty. Pretty much this is how we check to see if there's an empty slot available, right? If there's an empty slot, the player can add a or to, and if that's true, we will proceed. Then we will use another for loop. We say for q comma e in I pairs player dot forge folder. We're going to create this when we get to the server script. Get children close parentheses enter. We'll create a variable for forge slot. Just again makes it easier to keep up with. Forge slot is equal to e, right? You would then say if forge slot dot value is equal to empty, which means it's available to use, and we're going to write we are going to write a function at a we're going to write a function later down the line. I think we're just going to leave it like yeah, we'll just do this. So or amount check in parentheses, you're going to put or.name. So, okay, this is going to give you guys an error because this function doesn't currently exist, right? We're going to create this later. I probably should have made this first, but it doesn't matter. We're going to create the function like later, as in like just a few minutes and stuff from now. So you just say is equal to true. Pretty much this just means this is confirming that you have enough. Like you're not trying to add 3 pieces of iron when you only have 2 or 1 piece of iron, right? So then enter, and then you'll say if it passes all that, you'll say forward slot that value is equal to or dot name f dot text is equal to or dot name, which is that's just the or slot thing that we made, and then after you set success is equal to true, so it'll break out of the loop. So first, keep in mind, we're technically in 3 loops, right? But I mean, once we get out here, we're kind of in 2. So this break will break us out of this for loop, right? But then by setting this equal to true, what it'll do is when it runs again, once it sees if success is equal to true, and it says, okay, success is equal to true, then it'll break us out of this loop, right? So yeah, so once you're done with that, you're just going to skip all of these ends except for the last one. So right before the last one, the one with the right parenthesis, and then after that, you're going to say core GUI. Once all that's done, core GUI.forge frame.visible is equal to true. So now players can see it. Okay, moving on to our next, because we have a lot more functions to make. So we obviously need to set up the close function. So when a player is trying to close the forge menu, so we'll say core GUI dot forge frame dot or selection frame dot close text button dot activated connect function, close parentheses, press enter. Then you'll say core GUI dot forge frame dot visible is set to false. Core GUI dot hopper frame dot visible is set to true, right? Then we will set up the variable to keep track of the forge type. So this is one of two things. This is either weapon or armor. By default, I'm gonna set this to weapon, right? So then we'll say core GUI dot forge frame dot or selection frame dot weapon text button dot activated connect function, close parentheses, press enter. So this means the player's trying to forge a weapon. So we'll say forge type is equal to weapon, right? And then we will update the colors. We will say core GUI dot forge frame dot or selection frame dot weapon text button dot background color 3 is equal to color 3 dot new 1 comma 1 comma 1. Right, let me space that out right there. Okay, there we go. Right, then we'll just copy and paste it ourselves one time. So Control C, Control V. You're just gonna change this to armor text button, and then we're gonna go here and then change this to 0.33. So 0.33, 0.33, and 0.33. Right, great news, guys. We can just copy and paste. Control C, skip a line, Control V. Then you're just gonna change this to armor text button. Switch this to armor. And then the great thing is you can literally just flip these. So armor text button, weapon text button, boom, right? Now we're gonna set up a loop. This is for when you already have an ore selected and then you want to deselect it and stuff. Like you wanna like let's say you have a slot like with for a piece of iron, but you wanna say I don't want to use iron, but you're like I don't want to use iron anymore, right? So you want to remove it and send it back to your inventory essentially. So we're gonna say for I, v and I pairs. We're gonna say core GUI dot forge frame dot forge item frames get children enter. If v is a text button enter, then you'll say v dot activated connect function close parentheses press enter, right? Then v dot text is equal to in quotation marks empty, right? Then we will get to the specific forward slot is equal to string dot split v dot name comma text button. So keep in mind, right? All we're simply doing is going right here. We're just removing the two words text and button. So that it just says forward slot and the number, right? Because that's how we're gonna have it. So we're gonna say player dot forge folder. Then you're gonna say forge slot, go on the outside, dot value is equal to quotation marks empty. Right? Then, alright, we are down to the last two function guys, and then we're done with the local stuff. There's honestly more stuff on the local side of things than the server side of things. Now we're going to set up that or amount function. So function or amount check, then parameter is going to be the specific or that we're checking. So or name. This is just simply just a check to make sure that the player has, again, to make sure they have enough or more than enough, rather than trying to use stuff they don't have. So create a variable called or forge count is equal to 0, right? So this is essentially saying first thing this variable is keeping track of how much you've currently used of said ore. Like if you use 3 pieces of iron or 2 pieces. So for I comma v and I pairs player dot forge folder get children close parentheses enter create a variable. So for our forge slot it's equal to v. Then you'll say if forge slot dot value, because the value will be set to whatever the name of the ore is equal to ore name, enter, then ore forge count plus equal 1, right? Then you'll skip 2 ends, and then we'll create another variable, so ore inventory counts, this is how much you have in your inventory. So player dot ore inventory, regular bracket ore name, go on the outside dot value, and then you'll simply just say if ore forge count is greater than or equal to ore inventory count, enter, then return false. Else, return true. So if you don't have enough, return false. If you do have enough, return true. That's simple. Right? Now for our last function, we'll say core GUI.forge frame.forge text bunch of oh, wrong thing. So this is when you're actually ready to forge something. So dot activated connect function, close parentheses, press enter. You'll set up a forge table. We're going to send this over with all of your data. Because keep in mind, this is all on the local side, so we need to send this over to the server side. So enter, right? So we're going to set up a forge table. So regular bracket quotation mark slot one, right? Make sure everything is as you see it. Player dot forge folder dot forge slot one dot value, comma, right? Then we can just copy and paste. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, right? Then we can just go here, slot two, slot three, slot four. Beautiful. Then go here, slot two, slot three, slot four, right? Beautiful. Okay. After we've set up the table, then we can fire the remote event. Core event, fire server, in quotation marks, the name of the event, forge, comma, send over the forge type. So either you're trying to make a weapon or armor. Keep in mind, all I've done so far is weapons, so not armor. Then comma, forge table. So everything you have selected. Then we move on to the server side. So let's open up our server script, right? And then now we're gonna create a whole bunch of new stuff, right? So did I ever? I'm trying to think. Did I ever use the equip? I don't think I ever used that. Yeah, there was, yeah, so there shouldn't really be any need to do that. Okay, yeah, okay. So from here, we're then just gonna do this. We're going to copy and paste this. So Control C, Control V, right? I'm gonna rename this. This is going to be your Forge folder, right? This is where you're gonna keep track of all your slots. So Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. Then this will be Forge slot one, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, and then by default, all four values should be set to empty. And then this should be, yeah, should be a string value, right? And then the parent should be the forge folder. Then all you're gonna do is just copy and paste from here. So Control C, Control V, Control V, and Control V. And then again, just gonna do this, which is a lot of copy and pasting. So Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Go down here, forge slot three, Control C, Control C, or sorry, Control V, Control V. Forge slot four, copy, paste, 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 and paste. Boom. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to make a folder for our weapon inventory. So copy this, paste it, and then this is going to be weapon inventory. So this is going to save when you create weapons. So Control C, Control V, Control V, and Control V. And then make sure this is parented to the player, of course. All right. And then from there, after we create the hitbox and everything, we're going to create two new variables. So let's create some space. So first will be the OR folder. Remember that we made that at the beginning of the video. Let me close this. So OR folder is equal to items, child, ORs. Then create a variable for the stored folder. Or wait, do we need a? Actually, no, sorry, we don't need a stored folder. My bad. Never mind. We don't need that. So yeah, so we do also need to add some arguments here. So comma arg1, comma arg2. These are just pieces of information that we've sent over. So we're then going to scroll down, go after this end right here, enter. You're going to say else if event type is equal to, in quotation marks, forge, enter. Create two variables first, the forge type, either weapon or armor, and then forge table, which is going to have all of the information from your four slots. So the pretty much the ors you chose to use. So we're going to say if forge type is equal to weapon, create a variable called total damage. This is how much damage the weapon will do, or I guess can do. So set this to 0 by default, or you could do, I mean, you could do 1 as well if you wanted. Then we use a for loop for I, comma, v, and I pairs, or folder, get children, enter, create a variable for the specific or, right? Then another for loop for j, comma, f. Now, this is very important. Make sure you do pairs. Do not do I pairs right here, because this is a table, right? It will not work if you use I pairs. So forge table, enter, then our forward slide, create a variable for it, f, and then you'll say if or dot name is equal to forward slide, enter, then you'll create a variable for the damage, and then you're just going to calculate that. So generate a random number between the min and max damage for that specific or. So or dot min damage dot value, comma, or dot max damage dot value, right? Then after that, you're gonna say total damage plus equal damage. Then you're gonna skip three ends, right? And then you're going to create sword value, so or whatever weapon you want to call it. Instance.new is gonna be a number value, so sword.name. I'll just call it sword. Sword.value will be equal to total damage, will be how much damage it does, and then you'll parent this to the player's weapon inventory folder, and then now we can go ahead and test. See, as you guys can see, this video is what? This is what I'm saying. The video is almost 40 minutes long. That's exactly why I didn't want to do a complex. Because I know, like, in the actual game, you have to do, like, 3 to 4 mini games before you can even, like, forge the thing. This video would have been, like, an hour and a half long. So that's why I just wanted to start off very basic, very simple. So let's go ahead and press play and let's test to make sure everything works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, this one included, just simply read the description to find out how to get access to that. Okay, so first we don't have any ores. So as you guys can see, we have our forge folder. Everything is set to empty, right? So let's get some ores. So we got that. Okay, nice. So we have our iron and rock. Cool. Now here's what I'm gonna do. So first things first, I'm gonna switch over. How do you even switch over to the server side? Oh, there we go. So I'm gonna switch over to the server side, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna manually change how much iron I have. I'm gonna set it to 2 so that we can test have multiple. So if I hold E, it doesn't work. That's fantastic. Okay. So I accidentally did the wrong thing. What did I do? It's not, Forge frame is not about more from an event. What? Am I reading this right? Oh, I put core event. Oh, my bad. It's supposed to say core GUI dot forge frame, not core event. My bad. So yeah, guys, make sure you change that. So yeah, so make sure you guys change that to be core GUI. Why is it doing this? Okay, and then it did this before. It's not a real big problem, but I guess we'll just do this. Forge NPC, wait for child, human name part, I guess. So we'll just do that, just to be on the safe side. Okay. Now let's see if things okay. There we go. We can open, we can close. So as you guys can see, we have one rock, one iron. If I switch to the server side, change this to 2, you'll see it'll reflect here. Um, or not. Huh. I changed it. Iron rock 2. Hmm. That's weird. Or dot value. That's so weird. So it should, huh. But as you guys can see, we can switch between armor and weapon, which is great. Can I select stuff? Okay, there we go. So I can't select stuff. And as you guys can see, I can't add any more rocks. I can't add any more rocks because I only have one. For iron, now watch this. Now if I add iron, you see how I can add 2, and that's because I have to. For some reason, it's just not displaying properly, but it knows that I have to. So then if I click forge, right? Let's see if it added it. There we go. Okay, yeah. So weapon inventory, sword, and then it did the math calculations, and then yeah, so it ended up being 11. So if I forge again, obviously it didn't remove the resources from my inventory, but as you guys can see, and then boom. So it literally will just randomly calculate something, right? So then we still need to remove it, but I don't know why it's not. Why is it showing? Why is it? I don't understand why it's not reflecting the total amount of ores, if even though this is how much I have. So player.ore inventory, which doesn't it see? Yeah, 2. I don't understand. It should show ore.name. I'm so confused right now. Ore.name. No, wait, that's the wrong thing. My UI and then forge frame. Is it this or no? It's this one. No, this one. So for iron, this should say 2. I don't know why I really don't know why it's saying 1. dot text or dot name dot or dot value, even though it's set to 2. Player dot or inventory get children. Oh, I did this wrong. Oh, my bad, guys. I did this wrong. I realize. I see it now. Okay, I see what I did. I see what I did wrong. So right here, right? This is supposed to say, hold on. What is it supposed to say? It's supposed to say player dot, because this is at the beginning of the function, right? If v is, it's like, oh yeah, my bad, guys. I did this wrong. That's supposed to be player. Okay, I see I did wrong. I wasn't deleting the old stuff. This is supposed to say core GUI dot forge frame dot or selection frame dot or inventory frame. I wasn't getting rid of the old stuff. That's why. So make sure you get rid of that. My bad, guys. Okay, so now so just make sure you change that line, right? So if I do that, I switch over to the server side, right? Forge folder, or not forge folder, or inventory, changes to like 3, right? There we go. Now it reflects on me. I have. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that's fixed. But yeah, guys, I will continue to improve things and stuff, add a cooldown, and do all that greatness and stuff as long as the series continues to get love and support. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what else you guys want to see, find any bugs and whatnot, and just continue this sort of series, love and support. Hope everybody's having a great 2026, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.